A millionaire sees bruises on his maid, and when he discovers the truth, he call cops immediately. The soft clink of porcelain echoed in the grand kitchen as Mary carefully placed the cup of tea onto the counter. Her hands shook slightly, though she willed them to stay steady. The faint aroma of chamomile drifted up, but it wasn't enough to soothe her nerves. Across from her, the millionaire sat at the marble island, his sharp blue eyes fixed on a stack of papers. He wore a tailored navy suit, his platinum blonde hair perfectly combed as always. He glanced up briefly. "Thank you, Mary," he said, his tone polite but distracted. Mary forced a faint smile and gave a small nod. "You're welcome, sir." She turned to leave, eager to retreat to the laundry room before he noticed. But as she shifted, the morning light from the wide French doors hit her face at just the wrong angle, and he noticed. He froze mid-sip, his gaze narrowing as he caught sight of the dark purplish bruise running across her cheekbone, partially hidden beneath her left eye. "Mary," he said slowly, setting down his coffee cup, "what happened to your face?" Mary stiffened, her back still turned. "It's nothing, sir. I just bumped into a cabinet yesterday. Clumsy me." His brows furrowed. "Turn around." Mary hesitated. Her fingers dug into the edge of the counter. "Mary?" His voice was firmer now. Reluctantly, she turned. The sight stopped him cold. The bruise on her cheek was worse than he thought. A faint cut ran along her lip, and as she shifted her arm, he noticed another red mark peeking out from beneath her short-sleeved blouse. He rose from his chair, his expression hardening. "That's not from a cabinet." Mary's eyes welled with tears, but she shook her head quickly. "Please, sir, don't ask me about it. I'm fine." "You're not fine," he said, his voice low but sharp. "Who did this to you?" Mary gripped the tea tray tightly, her knuckles whitening. "It's not important. I just need this job. Please, I don't want any trouble." But Jonathan Hale, billionaire investor and ruthless negotiator, wasn't a man to let things slide. "Mary," he said, his tone softening slightly, "you've worked for me for 3 years. You've never been late, never complained. You're not just an employee. You're part of this house. You don't deserve this." A tear slipped down her bruised cheek as she looked at him. "It's my husband," she whispered. He didn't want me working here. Said it makes him look weak. When I tried to leave for work this morning, Her voice cracked as she trailed off, pressing a trembling hand to her lip. Jonathan clenched his fists. "How long has this been going on?" Mary shook her head. "Please, don't get involved. He'll be furious if he finds out I told anyone. I can't lose this job, sir. It's all I have." "You can't keep protecting him," Jonathan said firmly. "I'm not protecting him. I'm protecting myself," she whispered. "And my son." Jonathan's eyes widened slightly. "You have a child?" Mary nodded faintly. "He's 7. I send half my salary to my sister every month so she can take care of him. If my husband knew—" She choked on her words, covering her face with her hands. Jonathan's jaw tightened as anger simmered in his chest. "You're living in fear every day while he walks free?" Mary didn't answer. A sudden, loud knock on the front door shattered the silence. Bang! 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 Mary's entire body flinched violently. The teacup rattled in its saucer. Her eyes darted to the door in terror. Jonathan noticed the way her hand shook, how her lips parted in a silent gasp. "It's him, isn't it?" he asked quietly. Mary didn't reply, but her trembling form was all the answer he needed. The knocking grew louder, more aggressive. "Mary, open the door!" A deep, angry voice bellowed from outside. Mary backed away, her hand clutching her bruised cheek. He's going to be angry I'm late. He always says I don't listen." Jonathan stepped around the counter and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Stay here," he said firmly. "I'll handle this." "No, please," she whispered frantically. "Don't make him angrier. He'll come after me later. He always does." Jonathan looked down at her, his expression softening, but his jaw set with determination. "Not this time," he said quietly. As the pounding at the door grew louder, Jonathan's eyes hardened. He pulled out his phone and dialed quickly. "Mary, open this door right now!" Mary's knees buckled as she pressed herself against the counter, her chest heaving in panic. Jonathan gripped his phone tightly, already dialing security. But before he could speak, the unmistakable sound of shouting came from outside. "Hey, you can't go in there!" a guard barked. A moment later, there was a loud commotion, grunting, a sharp cry, and then the heavy sound of boots running across the polished marble floors. Jonathan's stomach dropped. Mary gasped, her hands flying to her face. "No, no, no, no!" The kitchen door burst open. A man in his mid-30s stormed in, his hair wild, his shirt wrinkled and stained. His eyes were bloodshot, his chest rising and falling with rage. "You!" he bellowed, pointing at Mary with a trembling finger. "What did I tell you about working for him? Are you deaf?" Two of Jonathan's security guards were already behind him, their radios crackling. One of them had a bleeding lip. "He shoved past us at the gate," the taller guard said breathlessly. "Took us off guard, sir. We're sorry." Jonathan raised a hand to silence them, his eyes locked on the intruder. Mary shrank back, her hands clutching her blouse. "Please, don't hurt me," she whispered. "You're coming home with me now." The man roared, taking a step forward. "You've embarrassed me enough, Mary, acting like some fancy maid for rich people. You think you're better than me." Jonathan stepped forward, his polished shoes clicking against the tile. He positioned himself squarely between Mary and her husband. "That's far enough," Jonathan said coldly. The man sneered. "Stay out of this. This is between me and my wife." "Not anymore." Jonathan's voice was like steel. "You lost the right to call her your wife the moment you raised a hand to her." "She's mine," the man spat, his face red with rage. "And no rich boy's going to tell me what to do." Jonathan didn't flinch. "Get him out of my house," he ordered his guards. The husband lunged forward suddenly, trying to push past Jonathan. "Don't you dare touch her," he shouted. But Jonathan moved faster than expected. He grabbed the man's arm and twisted it behind his back, forcing him to his knees with surprising strength. "You want to hit someone? Try me," Jonathan hissed, his voice deadly calm. The husband grunted in pain as Jonathan nodded to the guards. "Call the police. He's trespassing, assaulting my staff, and violating every decency a man should have." "Yes, sir," the guard replied, already on the phone. Mary stood frozen, tears streaming silently down her face. Jonathan looked over his shoulder at her. "Mary, it's over. He won't hurt you again." But she shook her head, her body trembling. "You don't understand. He'll come for me later. He always does. I can't run forever." Jonathan's jaw tightened. "You won't have to." Within minutes, the sound of sirens cut through the quiet neighborhood. Two officers entered, their boots squeaking on the marble floor. Jonathan stepped aside as the guards handed the man over. "This is her husband," Jonathan said to the officers. He broke in, assaulted my security staff, and has a long history of abusing her. She's terrified of him." The husband struggled as the officers cuffed him. "You can't do this to me. She's my wife." "Not anymore," Jonathan said sharply. "You're done." As the door shut behind the officers, Mary collapsed into a chair, her sobs finally breaking free. Jonathan crouched down beside her. "Mary," he said softly, "listen to me. You're safe now. He's not coming back." She shook her head, her voice barely audible. "He'll find a way. He always finds a way." "Not this time." Jonathan's tone was firm but kind. "I'll get you a restraining order, and if you're willing, I'll help you find a place where he can't touch you or your son ever again." Mary looked up at him, her eyes wide with shock. "Why are you doing this? You don't even know me." Jonathan's gaze softened. "Because I've spent years building empires and making money. But if I can't help the people under my roof, then what good am I?" That evening, Jonathan personally drove Mary to a safe house for women escaping abuse. Before she got out, he placed an envelope in her hands. Inside was enough money to start over, and a letter promising a job if she ever wanted to return. "Take care of your son," he said gently. "You don't owe me anything. You owe yourself and him a better life." Mary wept silently, clutching the envelope to her chest. And as Jonathan watched her walk inside, he knew this was one decision he'd never regret. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And let us know in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.